myself what do I actually want to do. And because I love technology so much, I definitely wanted to do something related to that. And then I've wanted to learn a programming language for a long time, which is Python. But due to the limited time I had to decide on something different. And then I chose making a podcast. And then I began my research, visiting different kind of websites and watching a lot of YouTube videos, just to get the idea of what podcast really means and what it actually entails. And yeah, next one. Slide 4. I also have to listen to some other different type of tech podcast. The Waveform podcast is owned by a very popular tech enthusiast is known as MKBHD. He has a whole podcast called the Waveform Podcast, and they basically talk about tech and review products and all kind of stuff. And the Vergecast is a podcast owned by a popular tech company. They usually also it's like a tech news company where they talk about gaming stuff, laptops, phones, and all other stuff that actually entails within technology. After my research and after everything I've learned, these are some of the steps. So making a podcast. First of all, you have to choose a niche. You have to define your audience and decide on the format of your podcast. You have to name your podcast. You have to brand your podcast. You also have to plan episode and get some equipment and learn some softwares.
So what does choosing a niche mean?
Choosing a niche basically means choosing like a topic that you want to like what you want your podcast to be about. So if you want your podcast to be about food, you choose that's your niche. It's food niche. If you want it to be about engineering, it's in that type of niche. Yeah.
And what about branding? Tell me about that. Why do you need branding for a podcast?
Okay, branding is very important. I'm actually going to get to that in a bit.
In
Next
another slide, okay?
Yeah. Okay, so choosing a niche, I think that's very straightforward, which is my niche is going to be about technology, and my audience are those that who are interested in technology and those who are actually interested in anything that has to do with phones or just want to stay updated on the latest tech news and information. And the format of my podcast is a multiple perspective podcast because I'm going to be inviting people to give their opinions about a particular product. I'm bringing people in to talk about a particular tech event and the rest, yeah. Okay, so naming a podcast was kind of like difficult for me because I couldn't come up with any reasonable name. So what I just had to do was just put my names down because they're just from names. I just had to put my name down, which is Daniel Adebayo, and then I just took the first letters of my first name and my last name. This slide. Okay. So I just chose DA and then I just made it DA podcast. Next slide. Making a cover art was no one should laugh at the picture. Making a cover art is actually very important because if I talked about branding, which is making a name and a cover art for your podcast. Branding is very important because that's how people will know your brand, they know your product, they know what you're giving out to them. And through your cover art, people are actually intrigued to actually want to click on your podcast to actually know what it entails about. And basically, and I made this like yeah, and I made this using Photoshop. Before now, I actually learned Photoshop for like 20 days, so I didn't have any problems designing this cover art for my podcast. Yeah, planning an episode was also a little bit difficult because I had to the people I actually wanted to meet to plan the podcast together with. I have to also make their schedule rhyme with my own schedule, so I don't want things to like overlapping. And sometimes when we plan a date, they'll be like, you can't be available this day. So that was also kind of like one of the issues I had when planning my episode. And before that, like I planned with one of my friends to like record an episode and it was not available. So I just thought of it would be a very good idea to make a trailer for my podcast, which is basically telling people what my podcast is gonna be about, just to give them like that hook so they should be expecting like something in the very, very first episode. And the next slide. next time, you're actually going to listen to the trailer of my podcast.
Welcome to JA Podcast, hosted by me, Daniel Barrow. Are you passionate about technology, curious about the latest smartphones, laptop, and mind-blowing gadgets hitting the market? Well, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, we'll dive deep into tech discussions, review the hottest products and gadgets, and share our honest opinions about them. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or just looking to stay updated on the latest innovations, this podcast is for you. Join us as we explore the innovations and tech driving the future. Subscribe now and don't miss out on our exciting journey through the world of technology.
Yeah, next slide. Recording equipment. Not a lot of us actually know this, but recording equipment is actually very important when it comes to recording a podcast. So this is a podcast room, and I'm basically just going to tell you guys what all this is all about. So this is called soundpads. This black stuff all over the world. They're called soundpads, and they're basically foams that allows you to like that. They basically reduce echo in the room. Like as I'm talking right now, they're like a lot of echo. And if you're recording, it's not really good when you have echoes in your room because it's actually going to affect things when in post production. And this mics, these are mics for recording podcasts. And some of the good mic I actually recommend is the Shure SM7 and any Rodecaster mic. One of them is the one over there that some of us use to record our podcasts. And headphones, I would just recommend an Audio Technical headphone because those are like very good headphones. And you can also get some any other kind of headphones, probably gaming headphones that sounds really good. This is called the Rodecaster Pro 2, and it's basically a sound card that allows you to plug in different mics into one audio source. So because there's like an output at the back where it actually connects to your computer, and these are all basically sound effects, and this is the volume knob and the sliders for levels. Yeah. And these headphones, the reason why you have headphones here is to monitor your voice, because whenever you're talking, you're actually it's basically for feedback. So whenever you're talking, you actually know when you are speaking too loud or you're speaking too low, just to help normalize everything. And you might notice what is like this lines right here. For some podcasts, actually shoot video. Some podcasts are also like video and audio. So these are basically key lights for video, just to lighten the subject. And this blue light at the back is basically a practical light, just to give your video this kind of feel. Yeah. Next slide.
And do you have all of this equipment at home, or did you have to?
No, I'm getting to that.
You're getting to that, sorry.
So unfortunately, I didn't have all of this equipment, so I recorded everything on my iPhone. Yeah.
So even though you don't have all that equipment, it is still possible to create a podcast with
Yeah, very possible.
simplified
Yeah.
equipment.
The second, another thing is marketing your podcast, because if you don't market your podcast, there's no way no one is going to actually know your podcast. And the way I marketed my podcast, I got some of my friends on Snapchat to actually help me share it to their stories. A big shout out to them. And I also made a YouTube channel talking about like my podcast, and I uploaded a video about the YouTube channel. If you rewind a bit, so when we were watching my trailer for the podcast, you see like the audio visual stuff, and then a kind of like a subtitle or something where you can actually see. So I didn't just want to upload audio to YouTube. I kind of like made a visual spectrum using After Effects, and then I also made captions using Premiere Pro. And I made a YouTube channel about my podcast. Another thing is I also have an Instagram account with a very small number of following, and then I just collaborated with myself, and then I shared my podcast so other people who are actually following me can also see and listen to my podcast. And I also use Spotify to actually share my podcast because Spotify actually is like Spotify. You can actually upload your podcast for free on Spotify and not have to like pay money to upload it. So that's why I chose Spotify. Next slide. Creating my podcast. One thing I actually wanted to do when creating my podcast is give value to the people and give a little bit of entertainment so it won't be boring, and then add information. I wanted to give value to my audience, a little bit of entertainment, and then much more information, because that's what a tech podcast really entails in. Next slide. Audio, like I talked about, when we like rewind a bit also, as you saw the picture, very like you need to have a very good environment for a podcast and equipment and editing software. Next slide. This is a picture from, like, this is my environment when I was like recording my podcast. This is actually not a full picture, because of like I was recording in my room, so I had to like have some blankets, then some blankets from my mom and my sister, just to like cover it to reduce the echo. And I actually had a monitor. I borrowed this from my mom, because she works from home, so I had to like lend it to record the podcast. This is my laptop, maybe you might know it. This is the script, not necessarily the script, because I do not like I don't like script when it comes to recording podcasts, because I tend to usually make mistakes, or in case if I have other idea I want to chip in, I won't really know what to chip in. I'll just be stuck on this following the what's it called, the script. And what is over here? This is Adobe Audition, and I'm actually gonna get to this in a bit, and I just add the lights. Yeah. Wait, before you go, this is a wireless lavalier microphone, and I recorded on my iPhone 14, but this lavalier microphone was actually like a backup audio, just in case anything happens. So I have this also. Next slide. Audio software. They're actually in the world of like editing audio, there are different type of audio software. So we have Adobe Podcast and Adobe Audition. I'm kind of a big Adobe fan, and Adobe Podcast was actually just released this year. And Adobe Podcast is basically an AI that allows you to actually help improve your voice. So if you record your audio and your environment isn't that good, you have like noise around. So what you just have to do is use Adobe Podcast. So basically enhance your voice. And Adobe Audition is like an advanced software, like filmmakers use it to improve their audio, even podcasters also use it to improve their audio. Next slide.
So both of those, like you said, if you're in an environment that's a little bit loud, it will take that and enhance your voice and kind of dim the sounds that are happening in the
does that,
background.
but you have to, it does it automatically for you.
Okay.
It helps you add like the bass, with the treble, all those kind of parametric equalizers and all those kind of stuff, fancy stuff. But with Adobe Audition, you have to do it manually by yourself.
So are these things software, like, does this cost money? Can you get this software for free? How do you get that software?
Because of Pembina Trails actually pays for it for us. So if you sign in with your school account, you actually get this for free.
Neat. Good information for the class to know.
This is Adobe Podcast, and if you visit podcast, it's adobe.com, and sign in with your school account, you actually have access to this. So as I said, you just basically record your file, your audio file, and then you place it in here, and this is the slide that will enhance your speech, and you can basically move the slide. You can be listening to the audio, and you can also like improve and check and like
And then when you get it to where you like, then you can save it and download it then.
Yeah.
Neat.
Also, this is Adobe Audition. As you can see, it looks very scary at first, but after I watched some videos and I basically understood what it meant, and you can basically add effects, you can add parametric, you can add a parametric equalizer. One problem I had was my guest wasn't speaking very well, so I had to amplify my audio a bit, and I had some noise reduction, some dynamics, parametric equalizer, DSL graphics, and all the fancy stuff just to make my audio look clear. Next slide. This was some of the YouTube videos I watched. Actually, some of them, just like most of them. This guy, his name is Mike Ruslo, and he has been my go-to guy when it comes to audio, because he's actually really good at audio. He makes videos basically about audio, just audio only. So if you have problems with Premiere Pro, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve, he basically makes video about audio. So the first thing I have to do was watch a video about getting started, basically understanding the software, how it looks like, and all those kind of stuff. And I have to watch, he also has a playlist about Adobe Audition for podcasters, which is about 32 videos. So I have to watch all of those just to understand the software. And I also, after that, after I understood the software within like a month, I also have to watch like an advanced Adobe Audition video. Yeah. So you can check him out by yourself. Where can you upload your podcast to? You can upload to Apple Podcasts, Castbox, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Player FM, Spotify, and we have the rest. But one thing to note is Google Podcasts is actually closing down this June. So Google Podcasts is not supposed to be part of them. Like I think June 11 or June 22. Google Podcasts is going to be closing down. And as if you're starting as a podcaster, you just want to start off. You don't want to actually be paying for sites. You don't actually want to pay to upload your podcast. So that's why I chose Spotify and YouTube. Just upload my
So
podcast.
all of the other ones you have to pay then to have your
Not
podcast.
necessarily. Like Amazon Music, you have to pay. With iHeartRadio and Castbox, you don't have to pay. But some of them you have to pay, but some you don't actually have to pay. Yeah. So out of all of them, I just chose Spotify and YouTube. Spotify for podcasters. This also has a different story. So it's Spotify didn't actually have Spotify for podcasters because you know the way there's Spotify for artists and then the normal Spotify like all consumers actually have access to, which is like the green one, with like the green logo. There's a different one which is called Spotify for podcasters, and it was formerly owned by Anchor. So Spotify bought Anchor, so now they now have like the what's it called, the thing. And then this is Spotify for podcasters, and you actually have to download this app, sign up with an email or your phone number, and then you have access to all the tools. And once you upload your podcast, it will actually be shown on the actual Spotify, which all consumer actually uses. Yeah. So I'm basically going to go over the interface of Spotify for podcasters. The first one, we have like your own analytics, episode, interact, monetize, and settings. At the time of my research, Spotify for podcasters, the monetization feature wasn't actually available yet. But when I checked like yesterday, that's why I actually updated my slide. When I checked like yesterday, it was now available. So I have to have over 100 plays to actually get monetized, and yeah. And we have the analytics, so you can actually see. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So basically this is some of the episodes I found iPhone versus Android. The reason why I chose this topic was because it's my first actual episode, right? So I wanted to like stir up some kind of conversation between the audience that are listening, because like there's always like a controversial conversation about iPhone and Android. Which one is good? Which one is like bad? So I just chose this topic just to stir up and make it like look interesting. And me personally, I don't actually support any of this. I kind of support both because they have like their downsides and they have like the parts where they shine, the parts where they don't like really shine. But the guest I invited is like actually an iPhone enthusiast. He actually likes iPhone and doesn't like Android. So the conversation between us was interesting a bit, and I think those who actually listen to my podcast actually like the podcast. I'll get to that in the next slide. This is the analytics tab, and from the analytics tab, you can actually check your overview, the amount of plays you had per episode, the audience size, Spotify impressions. Spotify impressions means the amount of people who actually saw your podcast. You can check your Spotify followers and the rest of this graph.
So you've had people in Spain, Austria, and the United States listen to your podcast already?
Just 3%.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's
And
very neat.
thank you. And this was some of the review because the interact page on the Spotify for podcast, and you can actually ask your listeners question about like what did you enjoy about the podcast? Did you actually like the podcast? And these are some of the review I got from some people that I don't know, and I actually don't know one of them, but some of them I actually know them. Nifemi, you all know TJ, the guy. So he actually was like, nice to grow. And one of my friends, Precious, was like, she likes it, and this one up here I actually don't know the person. So 90% of my listeners are actually from Canada, and thank you to my friends who actually listen to the podcast. And Spain and Australia and the United States, I do not know any of them.
Cool.
Next slide. So you can actually check out the podcast on Spotify right now if you want to, or on YouTube. Or to click it, press on Control and then click it. Yeah. So this is my YouTube on my YouTube page on my podcast, and this is basically how it looks like. I had to make a thumbnail using Photoshop. It was actually easy because I handle Photoshop, and it's about 33 minutes. I would have played it if it wasn't 33 minutes. but because of time, I won't. And we go to the
How much of your presentation do we have left?
presentation.
Do we have quite a bit of slides left?
Yeah.
Because I would like to not maybe listen to the whole thing, but at least listen to a little bit, because this was kind of the whole point of it, right? Is that we created
Yeah.
a podcast, so we have a little bit of time, let's go through the rest of it, and then we'll come back,
I listen to it.
and listen to a bit of it. And then I can also post the link onto our RIT page as well, and the students can go and listen to it there, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
that means more listeners, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, next slide.
And this is Spotify. Next slide. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions, any comments for Daniel? Is this the last slide?
No.
No? Any comments so far on Daniel's project? Alright, let's keep going then. They're blown away, they have no questions.
In conclusion, steps in starting the podcast, concept development, which is choosing a name, branding, getting some equipment and software if you have the money to, learn some recording software, hosting and distribution, promotion and growth, and probably if your podcast goes big, you can do stuff like trademarks and all those kind of legal and ethical considerations. And final thoughts, personal insights or learning from this project. With my personal insight, I actually did learn a lot from this project because I had to learn a new software which is Adobe Audition, and Adobe Audition has actually helped a lot of my videos because I actually used to use Adobe Podcast before to like enhance my voice, but now that I know a bit of Adobe Audition, a lot about Adobe Audition, now I can actually edit my audio myself and make my videos sound good. Yeah.